Stop. Do not spend that 2006 Roosevelt dime before checking it carefully. This coin has a face value of only 10 cents. But depending on its condition and the details hidden on the reverse, some 2006 Roosevelt dimes can be worth far more than their face value. In fact, a high-grade 2006 P. Roosevelt dime with the right full bands designation has sold for hundreds of dollars. But here's the truth that many people do not tell you. Not every 2006 dime is rare, and not every coin is worth hundreds of dollars. The exact coin, the condition, the mint mark, the strike, and the details on the torch all matter. The coin we are looking at today is a 2006 P. Roosevelt dime. It may look like an ordinary 10-cent coin, but the big question is this. Could the details on this coin make it more valuable than its face value? Before you spend your next Roosevelt dime, stay with me until the end, because we are going to look at the history of this coin, its real value, the P mint mark, the full bands detail, possible mint errors, and exactly what collectors look for when they examine a 2006 Roosevelt dime. This is not just an ordinary coin. At first glance, the coin in front of us may look like an ordinary piece of pocket change. It is small. It is silver-colored. It has the familiar portrait of Franklin D. Roosevelt, and most people would probably spend it without giving it a second look. But coin collectors look at coins differently. They do not simply ask, what is the face value? They ask, what year is it? Where was it made? What mint mark does it have? What condition is it in? Does it have a rare variety? Does it have a genuine mint error? And are the details strong enough to make it valuable to collectors? That is why a coin that looks ordinary to one person can be extremely interesting to another. The coin shown here is dated 2006, and near the date we can clearly see the P mint mark. That P tells us that this coin was struck at the Philadelphia Mint. This is important because the mint mark helps identify the exact version of the coin. But the mint mark alone does not make this coin rare. The real story is in the combination of date, mint mark, condition, and details. The history of the Roosevelt dime. The Roosevelt dime has a long and important history in American coinage. The first Roosevelt dime was released in 1946. It was created as a tribute to Franklin Delano Roosevelt, the 32nd President of the United States. Roosevelt led America during some of the most difficult moments in the nation's history. He served during the Great Depression. He guided the country through much of World War II, and his name became connected to the fight against polio. Franklin Roosevelt himself had been affected by polio. The March of Dimes was closely connected to efforts to raise money for polio research. Because of this connection, the dime became a meaningful place to honor Roosevelt. The design was created by John R. Sinek. The Roosevelt dime was introduced shortly after Roosevelt's death, and since 1946, the design has remained one of the most recognizable designs in American coinage. For more than 70 years, Americans have used Roosevelt dimes in everyday transactions. These coins have traveled through stores, banks, vending machines, cash registers, pockets, and coin jars. The 2006 dime is part of that long history. Although it is a modern coin, it is already almost 2 decades old. And every year that passes gives collectors more opportunities to discover unusual examples. Identifying the 2006 P. Roosevelt dime. Let's identify the coin carefully. The date is 2006. The mint mark is P. That means this is a 2006 P. Roosevelt dime struck at the Philadelphia Mint. The coin is made from a copper-nickel-clad composition rather than the 90% silver composition used on older Roosevelt dimes from 1946 through 1964. The 2006 P. Roosevelt dime had a very large mintage of approximately 381 billion coins. That is a huge number. And this is one reason why a normal circulated example is generally not rare. When more than 1 billion coins are produced, ordinary examples are usually easy to find. But there is an important difference between a common coin and a top-quality coin. A common coin can still be difficult to find in exceptional condition. This is where the value can change dramatically. How much is this exact coin worth? Now let's talk about the most important question. What is this coin worth? Based on the photographs this coin appears to be circulated, we can see signs of normal use on the surfaces. Because of that, this specific coin should not automatically be valued at hundreds of dollars. A normal circulated 2006 P. Roosevelt dime is generally worth around its face value or a small premium. That means the coin may be worth approximately 10 cents to a small amount above face value, depending on the buyer and condition. But here is where things become interesting. A high-grade 2006 P Roosevelt Dime can be worth much more. According to PCGS, the 2006 P Roosevelt Dime has a major full bands variety, and a certified MS67 full bands example has a recorded auction result of $426. That is an incredible difference. One 2006 P dime may be worth only 10 cents. Another coin from the same year and same mint may be worth hundreds of dollars. So what creates the difference? Condition, strike quality, and the full bands designation. The most important feature, the torch. Now turn the coin over. The reverse of the Roosevelt dime features a torch in the center. On the left side is an olive branch. On the right side is an oak branch. Around the design are the words, United States of America, E pluribus unum, and one dime. But collectors often focus on the torch. Why? Because the horizontal bands on the torch can be extremely important. On a well-struck coin, these bands may be sharply defined. When the bands are complete and clearly separated, the coin may qualify for a full bands designation. This is one of the reasons some Roosevelt dimes can become much more valuable. But there is a very important point. A coin does not become valuable simply because you can see some lines on the torch. The bands need to be fully and properly defined. The coin must also have the right condition and meet professional grading standards. This is why photographs can sometimes be misleading. Lighting can make the bands appear stronger, shadows can hide details, and a phone camera may not capture the surface accurately. The term full bands is used by professional grading services for Roosevelt dimes with strong, complete separation across the horizontal bands on the torch. The idea is simple. The better the strike, the more clearly the design details appear. Many Roosevelt dimes are struck with weak details. The bands may blend together. Parts of the design may be incomplete. But coins with strong, fully separated bands can be more desirable to collectors. This is especially true in high grades. That is why the best 2006 P full bands examples can sell for much more than ordinary circulated coins. PCGS lists the 2006 P10C full bands as a recognized major variety in records, a 426 auction result for an MS67FB example. So if you have a 2006 P dime, the reverse is definitely worth checking. But remember, full bands alone do not mean every coin is worth hundreds of dollars. The grade matters. The surfaces matter. The strike matters. And the coin must be professionally verified for the highest value claims. The condition of this coin. Now let's look at the condition of the coin shown in the video. This coin has clearly been in circulation. The surface shows contact marks and signs of normal handling. The design is still visible, but it does not appear to be a pristine mint state coin. This is important because a coin that has circulated for years is unlikely to receive the very high grades needed for the largest premiums. That does not make the coin worthless. It simply means we must be realistic. Most circulated 2006 P Roosevelt dimes are not rare. Their value is generally close to face value. The high values usually belong to coins that are exceptionally preserved. A coin must have very few marks. The original surface must be well preserved. The strike must be strong. And the reverse details must be excellent. That combination is much harder to find. Why a common coin can still be valuable. This is one of the most interesting ideas in coin collecting. A coin can have a huge mintage and still have valuable examples. The 2006 P Roosevelt dime had a mintage of about 1.381 billion coins. That sounds like the coin should be completely common. And in circulated condition it generally is. But imagine producing more than 1 billion coins. Every coin is handled. Some coins receive a better strike. Some coins leave the mint with marks. Some are damaged during transportation. Some are immediately placed into circulation. Only a small number survive in exceptional condition. As the years pass, many high-quality examples are separated from circulation. Some are spent. Some are lost. Some are damaged. Some are cleaned. And only a small number remain in truly outstanding condition. This is why collectors can pay premiums for high-grade examples of modern coins. The difference between an error and damage. Another important subject is mint errors. Many people see a mark on a coin and immediately believe it is a valuable error. But that is not always true. A real mint error happens during the production process. For example, a coin may be struck off-center. A die may crack. A planche may be clipped. The coin may be struck with another type of planche. or the design may be dramatically doubled. But a scratch created after the coin left the mint is not a mint error. A dent caused by being dropped is not a mint error. A mark caused by another coin is not a mint error. This is why you should not assume that every unusual line or mark is valuable. The error must be connected to the minting process. What should you look for on the front? On the front of the 2006 Roosevelt Dime, examine the date. Look at the numbers carefully. Check for unusual doubling. Examine the letters. Look around the portrait. Look at the edge of the coin. The date and mint mark should appear normal and properly positioned. A genuine error should be compared with known examples. Do not rely on a blurry photograph. If the doubling is very minor, it may simply be machine doubling. Machine doubling is often confused with a valuable doubled die. These are not the same thing. A true doubled die variety is created during the die-making process. Machine doubling happens during the striking process. Understanding this difference is extremely important. What should you look for on the reverse? Now examine the reverse. Start with the torch. Look carefully at the horizontal bands. Are they complete? Are they clearly separated? Are they sharply struck? Next, examine the branches. Look for unusual doubling. Look for major cracks. Look for missing design elements. Check the lettering. Examine the edge of the coin. But do not expect every circulated coin to have perfect details. Circulation naturally wears down the design. Why you should never clean the coin. If you believe your 2006 dime could be valuable, do not clean it. This is one of the biggest mistakes new collectors make. They see a dirty coin and think, I need to make it shiny. They use chemicals. They use polish. They use a cloth. They scrub the surface. But this can permanently damage the coin. Collectors generally prefer original surfaces. A cleaned coin can lose collector appeal. So if you find an interesting coin, leave it alone. Handle it by the edges. Store it safely. Take clear photographs. And get a professional opinion if necessary. The real value of this 2006 dime. Let's give the honest answer about the coin shown here. Based on the photographs, this appears to be a circulated 2006 Roosevelt dime. There is no obvious evidence from these photos alone that would prove it is a rare mint error. The coin appears to have normal circulation wear. Therefore, it should not be advertised as a $400 coin, simply because it is a 2006 dime. However, the 2006 Roosevelt dime does have valuable high-grade full bands examples. A certified MS67FB example has a recorded 426 auction result. That is why every 2006 dime should still be examined carefully. The normal value may be close to 10 cents. The exceptional value belongs to exceptional examples. This is the honest and accurate way to discuss coin values. The big lesson for coin collectors. The biggest lesson from this coin is simple. Never judge a coin too quickly. A coin can be common in one condition and valuable in another. A coin can have a huge mintage and still have rare high-grade examples. A coin can look ordinary but contain a recognized variety. And a small detail can sometimes make a major difference. That is why coin collecting is so interesting. You do not need to own a famous ancient coin to enjoy the hobby. You can start with coins from your pocket. You can examine your change. You can learn about dates and mint marks. You can compare condition. And you can slowly develop the skills needed to identify unusual examples. So if you find a 2006 Roosevelt dime, check these things. First, confirm the year. Is it really 2006? Second, look for the mint mark. This coin has a P mint mark, identifying it as a Philadelphia issue. Third, inspect the condition. Is it heavily circulated? Or is it almost untouched? Fourth, examine the torch. Look closely at the horizontal bands. Fifth, check for genuine mint errors. Do not confuse damage with a mint error. And finally, if the coin appears to be an exceptional example, consider professional grading. So is this 2006 Roosevelt dime worth 10 cents or hundreds of dollars? The answer depends on the exact condition and characteristics of the coin. The circulated example shown here appears to be a normal, used Roosevelt dime and should not automatically be valued at hundreds of dollars. But the same date and mint mark can become much more valuable in exceptional condition. A certified 2006 full bands Roosevelt dime has reached hundreds of dollars at auction, showing just how much condition and strike quality can matter. So the next time you receive a Roosevelt dime in your change, do not spend it without looking. Check the date. Check the mint mark. Turn it over. Look at the torch. Examine the bands and inspect the surface, because the difference Between an ordinary dime and a valuable, collectible may be hidden in the smallest detail. The coin we are looking at today is a 2006 P. Roosevelt Dime. The P mint mark tells us that this coin was struck at the Philadelphia Mint. At first glance, it may look like an ordinary piece of pocket change. It has been circulated, and the surface shows signs of normal use. But even modern coins deserve a closer look, because some examples can become valuable collectibles when they have the right characteristics. The Roosevelt Dime has a very important place in American history. The coin features Franklin Delano Roosevelt, the 32nd President of the United States. The first Roosevelt Dime was introduced in 1946. Shortly after Roosevelt's death, his image was placed on the dime as a tribute to his life and his connection to the fight against polio. Franklin Roosevelt himself had been affected by polio, and his name became closely connected with efforts to raise money for polio research. The March of Dimes helped support that fight. Because of this connection, the Roosevelt dime became more than just a 10-cent coin. It became a piece of American history. Now let's focus on the 2006 P issue. The 2006 P Roosevelt dime was produced in very large numbers. Because of its huge mintage, a normal circulated example is generally common. If you find one in ordinary circulated condition, its value is usually close to face value, or only a small amount above 10 cents. But this is where coin collecting becomes interesting. The same year and mint mark can have completely different values depending on condition. A normal circulated 2006 P dime may be worth only around its face value, but a high-grade example with excellent surfaces and strong details can be worth significantly more. The most important feature many collectors examine is the torch on the reverse. Turn the coin over and you will see the torch in the center. An olive branch appears on one side, and an oak branch appears on the other. Around the design are the words United States of America, a pluribus unum, and one dime. The horizontal bands across the torch are especially important. Collectors look for coins where these bands are sharply struck and clearly separated. When the bands are complete and strong, the coin may qualify for a full bands designation from a professional grading service. This can make a major difference in value. A circulated 2006 P Roosevelt dime is usually common, but a high-grade example with full bands can be much more desirable to collectors. PCGS records a 2006 P Roosevelt dime with a high MS67 full bands grade that sold for hundreds of dollars at auction. This shows how dramatically condition and strike quality can change the value of the same coin. But there is something very important to understand. That does not mean every 2006 P Roosevelt dime is worth hundreds of dollars. The coin must actually meet the requirements for the high grade and the full bands designation. A circulated coin with scratches and normal wear is not the same as a professionally graded mint state coin. This is why you should never believe a claim that every 2006 dime is rare. Most are not. Most circulated 2006 Roosevelt dimes are common. The value comes from the specific characteristics of the individual coin. When examining your own coin, start with the date. Confirm that it is actually 2006. Next, check the mint mark. On this coin, the P mint mark identifies the Philadelphia Mint. Then examine the condition. Has the coin been heavily circulated? Are there scratches and contact marks? Are the details worn? Or does the coin look almost brand new? Condition is one of the most important factors in modern coin collecting. Coins are damaged easily after they leave the mint. They are placed into bags, transported across the country, dropped into cash registers, mixed with other coins, and handled by thousands of people. Even a small mark can prevent a coin from receiving a very high grade. That is why finding a modern coin in exceptional condition can be difficult. Now examine the reverse. Look closely at the torch. Are the horizontal bands complete? Are they clearly separated? Are the details sharp? This is one of the most important areas to inspect. You should also look for genuine mint errors. A real mint error can sometimes make a coin much more valuable. Examples can include major off-center strikes, clipped planchets, die cracks, dramatic doubling, or other problems that happen during the minting process. But be careful. A scratch is not automatically a mint error. A dent is not automatically a mint error. Damage caused after the coin left the mint is usually just damage. This is one of the biggest mistakes new collectors make. Another mistake is cleaning the coin. If you think you have found a valuable Roosevelt dime, do not polish it. Do not use chemicals. Do not scrub it. Do not try to make it shiny. Cleaning can damage the original surface and may reduce the coin's collector appeal. Instead, hold the coin by the edges and store it safely. So what is the real value of the 2006p Roosevelt dime shown in this video? Based on the photographs, this coin appears to be a circulated example. It should not automatically be valued at hundreds of dollars. A normal circulated 2006p Roosevelt dime is generally worth close to its face value. However, high-grade examples with strong full bands details can be worth significantly more. This is the most important lesson. The year alone does not make the coin valuable. The mint mark alone does not make the coin valuable. The value comes from the combination of date, mint mark condition, strike quality, and recognized varieties or errors. So before you spend your next Roosevelt dime, take a few seconds to inspect it. Check the date. Check the mint mark. Turn the coin over. Look carefully at the torch. Examine the bands. Look for unusual features. And if the coin appears to be in exceptional condition, consider having it professionally evaluated. The Roosevelt dime may be small, but it carries a fascinating piece of American history. Most 2006p examples are ordinary coins worth around face value, but a truly exceptional example can be much more interesting, and that is what makes coin collecting so exciting. A coin that looks ordinary to most people may contain a detail that collectors immediately recognize. So the next time you find a 2006 Roosevelt dime in your pocket or change jar, don't spend it automatically. Take a closer look, because the difference between an ordinary 10-cent coin and a valuable collectible can sometimes be hidden in the smallest detail.